much for joining me today. It's December. You know I love Christmas, so I'd love to make an ornament with you today. I'm going to show you how to get a free file online. We're going to modify it a little bit, and we're going to make an ornament. Here's the finished product. We're going to do the Believe ornament today. This is super cute. It's fun and easy to make. And I'll show you another version that I made too, which is the Noel ornament. So let's get to work. We're now over here on designbundles.net. This is a website that is just dedicated to different designs. And I love making Christmas ornaments. So we're going to go take a look at some free ones, and then we're going to go ahead and make a Christmas ornament together. So I'm going to search free Christmas ornaments to start off with. And I have already reviewed some of these designs, and some of them were great, some of them not so much. I'll just kind of talk about a couple of them here to help you understand. This is a very cool design that gives you all the different relatives, but they just label them as people, and this is not, these designs are grouped together. So unless you take them to another software such as Inkscape and ungroup them, you're not going to be able to change these names. So I didn't want this one. So let's go back and keep looking. Then I took a look at this design here. And while I love the fact that it was blank so I could put my own words on here, and I love the top layer, the bottom layer really kind of needed to be in needed to be engraved or maybe scored. I don't know if it would work for scored. It probably would have to be engraved. And the way they did it, it looks like, is they maybe did either plastic or they took wood and painted it two colors. And I didn't want to get into that much detail on this, so I might come back and try this one later on, but I decided to keep looking. So the next one that I found, this one seemed kind of fun. This is actually two pieces. It's a star. So you have the bottom layer, and then this brown layer that they have, that just fits on the top of this. That one would work well for our machine and our software, but I didn't download that one myself. Okay, so let's go down here. I was kind of intrigued by this one about pets because everybody loves pets. But I think that one's going to have to be two layers too. So I was going to come back and maybe look at that one later on. But I did decide to move forward with this one right here. I love how ornate these are. And these aren't really set up for our machine, but I'm going to show you that they will work. And I'm going to show you how we can make them work. And the great thing about this design, and you're not going to know it from looking at this screen right here, but these elements are not grouped together. They're all individual elements, so we can actually modify this file to work for us, and that's a really great experience for you to have. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. It comes in a zip file, and it's going to go into your download folder, so you need to know where that is. And then you're going to have to go into your download folder, and you're going to have to open up that zip file. And let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so the one that it is the design bundles. I'm on a PC, so I'm going to grab design bundles. And then I want the SVG format because that is the one we're going to work with. You could bring it in as a PNG too, but I prefer the SVG. And then I'm just going to copy all of these. And then I'm going to go create a folder in my folders, and then I'm going to paste them there. Okay, I've gone ahead and done that already, but I'll let you go ahead and do it as well. And then we are going to now go over to we're going to go over now to Xtool Creative Space, and we are going to work on here. Now we're over here in Xtool Creative Space. We cannot open this as a project because Xtool Creative Space does not recognize SVG files as project files. They only recognize their own files, which are an extension of XCS, So we have to import this as an image. We can do it right here on the menu, or we can do it over here on the icon. Just a little bit quicker step over here. Same effect though. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab, let's do believe. And we're going to have to scale this to fit. You usually will have to do that with any SVG file that you bring in, and we will actually size it once we get it in here. Okay, now this can look overwhelming when you first bring it in, okay? Try not to get too overwhelmed by it. Okay, let's just click off of this so we don't have all of the boxes and take a look and see what we have. First of all, it's kind of big. I'm going to actually zoom out so we can see all of this. And I'm actually going to move this over. So I want to select everything so I can move everything at once. The easiest way to do that is to go up here in the corner because I want to get all of these little. Okay, so by grabbing all of this at once, we can go ahead and move it over. I don't really care about this chain, so I want to look more at the design. Okay, so let's talk about this design for a minute. So when you first look at this, you think, okay, this is cool. It's very ornate, but I want you to start thinking as a laser cutter yourself. This took me a while to get to this point. And again, I'm new at this, so you could be light years ahead of me. But this is going to cut out, if I use it as a cut file, this is going to cut out wood in a million little pieces. And then what am I going to do with it? Am I going to glue those all onto another piece of wood? So I kind of think I need to somehow get a border around this so I can actually make this into an ornament. Now, this could have been designed originally for some other machine, but it doesn't really work as an ornament for us because it doesn't have a continuous cut on the outside to make it one piece. Okay, so can we do that? And we can, because you'll notice when we highlight these elements, they're all different elements. It's not just one element. I'll show you that in another file when you see everything that's grouped together. And the only way you can do it with something like that is to take the file out to another software such as Inkscape and to ungroup the file so you can work with each piece. But if you're new, you might not want to do that. So I wanted to find a file that was already ungrouped for you, so this will work for you. And I will include the link for this file in the description. Okay, please be sure to subscribe if you like my videos so you'll be notified when they become available. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do. So I want to make this a round ornament, okay? So you want to really kind of look at all these different elements, and the one that kind of sticks out to me is this believe. So if I cut this believe out, it's also going to cut this middle part of the B. So I'm going to have just a big open B, and it's not going to keep those little pieces as it should, okay? Or the E, mostly any of this, to make it actually look like a word, okay? It would just kind of be this outline space, and that's not what I want. So I think what would be kind of cool to do with this design is to actually cut out the word separate and to put it on after we make the ornament. So it's actually going to be 2 layers. Okay, so we're going to do that. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is kind of get this down to a size where we want it because it's taking up so much space here and we don't want to do that. Okay, so to kind of contain it, I want to go ahead because it's kind of hard to get a measurement on all of this right now. Let's see what it says it is. Okay, we're in millimeters, so I'm going to switch up here to settings to inches because I don't think in millimeters. Okay, so this is like, sorry. So if we just highlight the ornament part, it's 7 inches. So we can go ahead and since we have this all highlighted, if we resized it right now, the heart and the chain would not be included, which I'm fine with because I'm not going to include those in this design. Okay, so let's go ahead and size this down. I would like it to be about 3.5 inches. I kind of find that's a good, or let's just even do 3.6 because this is pretty intricate. So I'm okay with it being a little bit bigger. So I'm happy with that. Okay, we did leave one of the cutouts when we did that, so we could go undo. and come back here and we could grab that. And even if it grabs the heart, I'm okay with it. We're just going to take it out of there. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring it down. Now, I don't want this to be symmetrical necessarily, so you'll notice I have this on lock. So what that does is it maintains the dimension. If this is not locked, I could skew the whole design, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so I have it down to 4/8. Let's take it down a little bit more. I'm looking more on width because I'm going to lose that top element, which is some of the height on it. Okay, so I'm good with this for right now. We can resize it again. I'm going to lose this heart. I don't want it because it doesn't really work with our design. I could put it on afterwards if I wanted to, but I'm going to pass on it. I'm just going to get rid of it. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to take this believe, and I'm going to have to take the believe and the dot for the eye because it's going to be two separate pieces. So I'm going to click on the believe. I'm going to hold my shift key down, and then I'm going to click on that dot as well. And now I'm hoping I can move them both, and I can. Okay, if you didn't get it right the first time, just use your undo button. Your undo button is your best friend, and do it again. So I'm happy with that. We can cut this as a separate unit, and then we have this. Now, this still isn't going to work because we don't have anything to contain it to make it a round. So we're going to have to put a frame around it. Okay, so let's go ahead and insert a circle. You have different shapes down here, but your line, rectangle, and circle are contained in the insert. So let's go ahead and grab a circle. We're going to put this around it. This one I do want to be proportionate. So if I look up here right now, I've got 4/8 and 5/1, and I don't like that. So I'm going to unlock this, and then I'm going to make this 4/8 on both of them. If I resize it afterwards, I'm fine with it. I'm going to lock it, and it will stay in proportion. Okay, let me highlight it again because I clicked off of it. You always have to highlight the element you're working with. Let's lock it, and then I can resize it, and it's not going to get distorted. Okay. Now for this one, I want a little bit of an edge around it because this is pretty ornate and it's going to be kind of fragile, quite honestly. So I want a little support in the wood around the design. And then when we cut this, we're going to paste that on the wood that's going to be in this part of the design. So now what you have is you have a solid background, and these are all going to be cutouts, which is going to be really cool. But then you look at it and say, okay, great, Tammy. Okay, first of all, it's crooked, but you say, great, Tammy, what are we going to hang it with? And you're right. So let's go ahead and figure that out. So now I can't center all this with the align function because it's going to try to do all the elements. Okay, so I'm kind of going to have to do this visually. So I'm just going to kind of play with it. Now, if you are having trouble getting this to move in the increment that you want with your mouse, remember you can always select it, and then you can try holding the shift key down and then the arrows up and down on your keyboard. Or the other thing you can do is you can change the position up here in the Y and X axis. Okay, that is your other option. And if you really are trying to move something a very small amount, I sometimes have to come up here and do it. Okay, let's just take it down just a tad. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Just trying to get it. I'm going to hold down the shift key and just bring it over just a touch. Okay, so it does it a little bit smaller increments when you do that. Maybe one more time. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Okay, so I need something to hold this ornament. So we're going to go ahead and insert another circle. And I could, you know what, let me just bring one of these over and make it bigger because this is already my circle. And then I'm just going to grab the edge and see if this is, it is a perfect round. And then I'm going to have to put another circle inside of it. So I need to make it a little bit bigger, and I need to overlap it. Okay. Because if I just put it up here and just touch it a little bit, the overlap is going to be weak. It's going to break. Okay. But if I bring it down and unite it, and overlap it a little bit, it will unite better. Okay, you can even bring it down a little bit more and actually make it a little bit bigger round so you have more of a half dome. Okay, I'm going to show you how this works. Now we do want to center this. So this is already selected. I'm going to hold my shift key and I'm going to select the round. And then we are going to align these. And you always want to look here at the little legends, is that what we call them? Or the little pictures here to see what if it's a horizontal, if you don't understand which one that is, or your mind's just not thinking of it, here's a nice little picture about what the horizontal is. And that's what we want. So we're good with that. So I know this is now in the center. Okay, now we don't want it to overlap like this. So we're going to select both of these elements again, hold down the shift key, select the other one, and I'm going to combine them and I'm going to unite them. Okay, so now they're united. They have a nice strong unity right here. And then we just need to put another circle in the middle so we can hang it. Okay. And I'm going to go back and select that and make it bigger. And this is locked, so I'm not going to lose my proportion. And I think I want it a little smaller than that. Oops. And I moved my frame by mistake, so I'm just going to undo that. And I am going to use my arrow key to move this because I want it a little bit better centered. Okay, so this one I also can center. I can align it and I can do it horizontal and I'm good with that. If I do it vertical, it's going to put this in the middle of the design and I don't want that. Okay, I'm going to lose the rest of these chain and then we can go ahead and get to cutting. Okay, so we're going to do user-defined material. I'm using 3mm basswood, but I have measured it with my electronic calipers. It's 2.8, and I'm going to be on triangular prism. Okay, now the problem here is now this says inches, it doesn't say millimeters, so this is going to come out to be equivalent of about 0.8 if I leave it at this, and it's going to burn. Okay, so let's go back to settings. Sorry, guys, I say okay a lot. I know I do that. Okay, so let's go ahead. So I just did it again. Let's select all of this. The thickness again is 2.8. I should have selected that before I selected everything. Let's go back and try it one more time. Now, when you can click on each element and hold down the shift key, but you're going to be here all week. So just go ahead and click the blank space and just hold down your mouse button and pull it out so you can select all the pieces at once. We're going to cut everything. We're going to do 100 and then we're going to do 5. Okay. Okay, I'm going to move this. I always want to optimize all of my space with my wood. I can even, oops, I lost it. Let me select all of it again. And I did not select all of it, so you'll see that I left some behind there, so I need to try that again. You want to make sure you select everything so it'll move together. There we go. I could even move this a little sideways so I can save some wood space. Okay. I don't cut right at the edge. I find that I get a cleaner cut if I don't cut right next to the edge. That's just a personal observation. Maybe you haven't found that, but that's just what I have found. Now I'm just going to put this down here again because it's this is going to be a very delicate piece. Okay, so I'm going to select these two individually because I keep grabbing that top part and it didn't move the dot. Let's try that again. Let's do the dot first because it's harder to pick up. Okay, I'm just going to drop it a tad. Okay, I am happy with that. So let's go ahead. I have my machine off right now. I'm going to go ahead and power it up and we're going to get to cutting. Okay, so I am going to refresh my machine. Now that I have it turned on, you'll see I'm a little bit off the wood. So let's go ahead and grab everything and move it over, Tad. Okay. And I am happy with that. I'm going to check everything one more time. Let me just select it all. Cut 105. Guys, a little tip. If I would decide I don't want to cut the believe right now, I could select just those two elements and I could turn that off. And then I still would cut all of this and not cut the believe. Okay, so it's nice if you maybe just need to cut one part of your element again to have that function. I'm going to turn it back on and we'll hit process. This next screen, oh, okay, this is good, we got this. So this element is out of the processing area. And you're like, wait, it's not, it's fine. But if you click on this, you'll see the frame is out. And that's a problem sometimes when you turn elements sideways, okay? Because it's not actually the cutting part that's out, but it sees that the frame's out, so it thinks it's out. So let's just go ahead and turn it back, not mess with it. Sometimes you can adjust it a little bit and you're okay, but it's fine. We'll just move it down. And I could just maybe try to move it a little bit, but I know you guys want to see how this is going to go, so let's get to cutting. Okay, so lastly, before we get to the cutting, I want to look at the size of this again. I need to switch back to inches. Sorry, guys, one day I'll learn. And this is kind of big. This is 4.43 and 5.125. So let's go ahead and size this down. Now, I will want to size down the bleed at the same time because I want it to be proportionate when I put it on the round. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at the width here, and I want to get down to about 3.8. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. And I feel like this round's kind of big, so let me just drop it down a little bit. Okay, we're just going to size this a little bit, drop it down a little, and I am happy with that. Okay, let's go ahead and hit process. Okay, this is the most important screen that you're going to see when you're getting ready to cut. The color of this element tells you what you're going to do. This kind of blue-purple color tells you you're going to cut. If you see orange, it means you're going to score. And if it's a solid orange, it means it's going to engrave. Okay, so now you can frame it if you're worried about if it's going to fit on your wood. I'm not concerned about it, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're done. Now it's time to go ahead and take it out of the bed of the laser. I'm going to be using my Xtool knife to help me remove some of these elements. I'm going to stain the ornament and I'm going to paint the words and put them back together. And here is our finished piece. So I went ahead and stained this a dark walnut color, I believe it was, and painted the believe and used Starbond to glue these together. I love how it turned out. Let me show you. I also did the Noel, so you can see that one too. It'd also be super cool to do a back plate to this. Where you either just painted the back plate or you use like a piece of acrylic to put behind it so it would show through the filigree. Super fun project. Please be sure to subscribe and like my videos so you will be notified when I do my next one.